Legend of Zelda is in a weird situation for me right now. It's my third favorite video game franchise behind Pokemon and Smash Bros., and yet I feel like I've been neglecting it lately. For years, I waited for Breath of the Wild to come out, and in that time frame, I didn't play much Zelda. Usually when I'm really excited for a game, I don't play any of the other games in the series, so that when I finally get to play the new one, it feels so much more satisfying. Ever since that teaser trailer, I didn't really touch the series at all. Sure, I played Twilight Princess again when the HD version came out, but I didn't actually finish it. I finished the game before, just not the HD version. Now that my Breath of the Wild hype is fully gone, I think it's time for me to catch up a bit. I've been wanting to finish A Link to the Past for quite a while now, and when the SNES Classics released a few months ago, there was never been a better time for me to play it. Except for, tracking down a copy or even just getting it on Wii U or 3DS. And I do have it on Wii, but this is beside the point. The SNES Classic just feels better. The colors are better on this anyway. With nice-ass borders as a bonus. With A Link Between Worlds being my second favorite Zelda, I'm not sure why I didn't play this game sooner. Before this, I never even got the Master Sword, which means I barely played it. Well, let's see how this game holds up. Long ago, Hyrule housed an omnipotent golden power, Triforce, which many people sought out. Makes sense. People can be power-hungry assholes. Being power-hungry assholes, they all fought each other to be able to enter the sacred land of the Triforce. But everyone was so busy fighting over it, they all died in the process. Good job, guys. One day, evil power began flowing from the Triforce, so King Hyrule told 7 wise men to seal the gates of the sacred land. It was supposed to be sealed for all eternity, but the wise men were incompetent, I guess, and that seal only lasted... not an eternity. Some unspecified time later, a wizard named Aghanim broke the seal and killed King Hyrule. The asshole didn't even bother cleaning up the skeleton. This gets more gruesome the more we think about it. Aghanim kidnapped Zelda to use her in his nefarious scheme, and wait, that's what Aghanim looks like? It's just Pokey Minch with wizard robes. Wait, no, never mind, that's just his forehead. This guy doesn't even have a face! I don't know how to take this guy seriously. Aghanim uses his magic to make the descendants of the 7 wise men vanish one after another. Zelda's about to get magic napped when cue the main protagonist! Zelda talks to Link telepathically and explains the whole situation to him. In his sleep. Any normal person would ignore the voices in their head, but not Link. Link's uncle tells him not to leave until morning. Sorry, no can do, uncle. The voices in my head are telling me to go rescue Zelda. I'm not just gonna ignore the voices in my head now, am I? Also, there's only one bed in Link's house. Did they sleep in the same bed? Maybe it's best not to think about it. Link sneaks his way into Hyrule Castle, which is literally right down the street, and finds his uncle dying right in front of him. Why does every father figure in this game die immediately? Hey, kid. I know you deliberately disobeyed me, but I'm dying. Take this sword. Zelda, is you... Okay, cool. After rescuing Zelda, it turns out Aghanim is the mind controlling every soldier in the castle. Fantastic. Do you understand? Not at all. Why did you talk to me in my sleep? Why did you choose me of all people? Oh, you might... Oh, you're just gonna explain that stuff about Aghanim again? Cool. Link brings Zelda to the castle sanctuary, so you know what that means. More exposition! Aghanim needs the descendants of the wise men to open the path to the sacred land again, so that he can get to the Triforce. If the seal is released, evil power will consume the land. That's bad. To defeat Aghanim, Link has to find the 3 sacred pendants to obtain the legendary Master Sword. After obtaining the Master Sword, it's time to take back Hyrule Castle. Wait, don't go yet, this is only 3 hours into the game. This part of the game is super satisfying. They bombard you with a ton of enemies that used to give you trouble, and now you can kill them really easily. You feel like a one-man army and it's so awesome. You make it to Aghanim and he makes Zelda disappear right in front of you. Darn, so close. You fight Aghanim, which is the start of the first annual Energy Ball tennis match. You almost defeat him, and Aghanim sends you to the Dark World. The Dark World is essentially a ruined sacred land where the Triforce is held. And so, it's up to Link to travel around the Dark World to rescue the 7 maidens to be able to defeat Aghanim. The story's pretty simple, but it's mostly more of a motivational tool. But to be fair, there's more story here than most Super Nintendo games, other than its RPGs. The characters don't really have much to them either. Link doesn't talk, Zelda feels more like a plot device than a human being, and Aghanim just kind of exists. I couldn't tell you a single thing about this guy even if I tried. He's an evil wizard, I guess. He doesn't even have a face! Who even is this guy? A Link to the Past was the first in the series to introduce a new Link and Zelda. These aren't the same characters from Zelda 1 and 2. This Link's even got pink hair! How cool is that? Don't know why they didn't keep this for A Link Between Worlds, but whatever. There's an actual game in here, and it's honestly pretty damn solid. A Link to the Past takes the general mentality the Super Nintendo had, take what the NES did right, and make it 1,000 times better. The world in A Link to the Past is actually pretty big for an SNES game, and it's fun to explore it. You can traverse it quickly, there's good indication about where you're supposed to go, secrets are fine, all that good stuff. It helps that the world map is really good. This thing tells you everything you need to know, and you can even zoom in, which is pretty cool for an SNES game. The world in this game feels really compact. It's kind of small by today's standards, but there's still plenty to see and do. Even if you're stuck, just explore around and you'll probably be able to figure out what to do next and have fun while doing it. The controls in this game are pretty good too. Nice walk speed, it feels good to swing your sword around, the menu has this nice drop-down animation, it just feels really nice to play. As you progress through the game, you'll get new items to play with, and they all work well too. It feels a little weird to shoot your bow, but it might just be me. I can't really describe why it feels a little off to me. Link to the Past has a pretty nice assortment of items anyway. You got the fire rod, a hammer, some magic power that turns anti-fairies into fairies, a bug net to put fairies inside of bottles, the hook shot, and easily my favorite, the Pegasus boots. It feels so awesome just running around Hyrule with these things. I love them. You can even get an ocarina, I mean flute, and use it to travel around Hyrule on this really small bird. I know most flying types can learn fly, but come on. This just looks ridiculous. Honestly, it just makes me want to use the flute more. A few items in this game feel useless though. Seriously, why does the ice rod even exist? It freezes enemies, I guess, but it's kinda useless. There's an invincibility cape that's occasionally useful, and a book that's used to read ancient text. I don't understand why this has to be its own item. Why can't it just automatically be used when it's actually needed? Another main issue with the game is that you only have one item slot. The only button you can assign items to is Y. I wish that the X button was the second slot for items. The only thing the X button does is bring up the map. That easily could have been the select button, which is only used to save and quit. That's it. That's annoying too, you can't just save and continue. Luckily that's not an issue anymore since we've got save states on Wii U, New 3DS, and SNES Classic. About a third of the way through the game, you gain full access to the Dark World. It's the land containing the Triforce after evil energy started flowing out of it. It's essentially the evil, corrupted version of Hyrule. Think the Upside Down for Stranger Things, except there isn't an interdimensional monster that wants to kill everyone. Well, there's a lot of monsters that want to kill you, but at least they're not interdimensional. Everyone in the Light World corresponds to some place in the Dark World. Some places can even be drastically different, like how the desert in the Light World is a swamp in the Dark World. Anyone from the Light World who enters this place is turned into the true form within their heart. In Link's case, a bunny. A bunny who is incapable of using items. There's just something hilarious about the great hero of legend, who gets turned into a fluffy, cuddly pink bunny when exposed to too much evil. To negate this evil power and retain your human form, you have to get the moon pearl from the Tower of Hera. You get this pretty early, and you only have to go through one small section of this place as a bunny. Link turning into a bunny was one of the standout moments of this game for me. First time you enter the Dark World, you just turn into a bunny without any explanation. It just kinda messes with you for a good few minutes. To enter the Dark World, you have to find a portal to it, which usually means you need items from later dungeons. Leaving is the easy part. You just need to use the magic mirror you get before you even step foot in this place. It makes a portal for where you were in the Dark World so you can return to your previous position easily. Dungeons in this game are pretty solid too. There's 11 main dungeons in this game, and this is quite a lot for a Zelda game. There's technically 13, and I like to count dungeons if it ends with a heart container or the final boss. Otherwise, I just see it as a mini dungeon. This is Zelda norm for these places. You go from room to room to solve puzzles, defeat enemies, get keys, the usual Zelda fare. The cool part is that the Zelda dungeon formula of solve puzzles until you get an item, which is usually solve more puzzles, hasn't been established yet. Every dungeon has an item chest, but you can't open until you find the big key, which is also used for big locks, which eventually leads to the boss. Items don't really use much in the dungeon you find them in, and it's pretty refreshing. Most dungeons are pretty fun to play, which is nice. Notice how I said most. The Ice Palace just sucks. It's confusing despite being pretty linear, there's keys in places you'd never expect. It feels like the longest dungeon in the game, and to top it all off, ice physics. Ugh. It's not one of the worst dungeons in the series, but it's pretty miserable compared to the other dungeons. At least to get the blue tuning out of this. Personally, I think these dungeons are a little short. Most can be finished in about 20 to 30 minutes. I don't know if it's just me, but dungeons don't really do anything interesting before they're over. Almost all of them are enjoyable, but none of them really stood out. Dungeons feel a little too rapid fire too. For most dungeons, you go from dungeon to dungeon with little to no progression in between. It means that there's no filler in between, but I always love the anticipation of getting to the next dungeon. In this game, a ton of it is spent in back-to-back dungeons, and it just ruins the contrast dungeons had with the overworld in other games. This is mostly a personal complaint though. They're still fun and enjoyable dungeons, there's just more time spent in them than I would like. I'd rather have few dungeons that take longer to complete, but that's just me. Not all item chests give you an actual item though. Some give you equipment upgrades like being able to pick up stones or doubling your defense. Upgrades can also be found outside of dungeons too. Whole pieces make their debut in this game. You can eventually double your magic mirror, upgrade the Master Sword twice, and you can even increase your bomb and arrow capacity by donating absurd amounts of rubies. Now this place almost sounds like a pyramid scheme, or is it a Triforce scheme? What's pretty dumb is that in order to defeat the final boss, you need to take this giant bomb to the pyramid of the Dark World, and use it to blow a hole in the wall. Then you throw in your bow to get the silver arrows. Might as well throw in your sword as well to get the gold master sword. The only hint that you require to do this is if you fall off a stage during the final boss. Even then, they don't even tell you how to get the silver arrows. I knew about this, but it's such a dumb design choice. But can we just talk about how uncoordinated Link's outfit is by the end of the game? He's got a green shield that covers up his face, a blue hat, a red tunic, gold gloves, gold sword. Jesus, man. How do you even get dressed in the morning? I don't usually emphasize specific Easter eggs because I like people to discover them for themselves. However, I'll make an exception because of the story behind it. In 1990, Nintendo Power had a contest where the winner would have their name put into a future NES game. All you had to do was take a picture of yourself encountering a Woolmech in Final Fantasy. I haven't played Final Fantasy 1, but it's to my understanding the Woolmech is a really rare encounter in a whole part of the game, so just finding this thing is an accomplishment by itself. The winner of this contest was Chris Houlihan. And so, Chris Houlihan has his own room in A Link to the Past filled with nothing but 225 rubies, and a sign that has his name on it. The room can't be accessed normally, and is essentially a failsafe in case the game can't determine what room to send Link to. Luckily, there's multiple glitches in the SNES version that allows you to access the room. It's kinda pointless, but this room was essentially an urban legend until the rise of the internet. Since then, it's been cemented as a pretty famous Easter egg, even though it's technically a glitch. Having your name engraved into the room that stops the game from crashing in one of the most beloved Zelda games is a pretty damn awesome prize if you ask me. I've been playing the SNES version of A Link to the Past, but there's also a GBA version of the game. Since Four Swords is a multiplayer-only game on a system before Wi-Fi became widely used, they included a port of A Link to the Past alongside it. Let's face it, people only bought it for portable Link to the Past because Four Swords is not good. The GBA version mostly just little changes, but it does have an extra dungeon, if you manage to find someone to play Four Swords with you. Point being, you're not going to be able to play that dungeon anyway. The Houlihan room is fixed in this version, so there's no way to access it without hacking. They even removed the sign that has his name on it. Poor guy. There was also screen crunching on the GBA, meaning you'll be able to see less of the screen than on SNES. Point is, just stick to the SNES version. GBA seems playable, but the SNES is much easier to find as $8 on Wii U and New 3DS, instead of about $20 on GBA. Even the portability isn't much of an advantage, since you can just buy it on New 3DS now. At $8 you're getting a 12-hour adventure, so it's pretty great value nowadays. Or you can play it on SNES Classic Edition like me and have the original controller and nice screen borders. If you can find it, that is. And no, I won't stop bragging about it. I love this thing. It's so cute. Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past was a really solid, enjoyable entry in the Zelda franchise. This compact world is fun to explore and pretty refreshing compared to the huge world of Breath of the Wild. It's got a few standout moments, and while its characters are about as interesting as watching paint dry, the story gets the job done. I'm really glad I played A Link to the Past, and you should give it a try too. It's a good entry point into the series and a solid entry for longtime fans like me. It may not be one of my favorites, but I can see why it's such a beloved entry in the series. This has been that Flame Assassin guy, and Link's uncoordinated outfit bothers me way more than it should. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next mission.